Alright, hey, what's going up, guys? I'm doing a video today on my top 5 fantasy wide receivers coming into the 2016 season. Just gonna give my list, how I think that they're gonna do, and my little opinion and my projections, alright? Okay. First off, I'm pretty sure everybody knows who this is. Antonio Brown. Alright, I don't even know, this guy's out of this world. He is insane. He had 193 targets with 136 catches, 1,834 yards, 13.5 yard average, 10 touchdowns, with his longest pass being a 59-yard reception. All right, in 2015, 1,834 yards. I don't even remember, but he was pretty close to breaking Calvin Johnson's yardage. His single season record. I think it was like 1,000 yards or something like that he was away. Not 100 yards that he was away. And then just even to throw it in, make that extra, he had 3 rushing attempts for 28 yards, 9.3 yard average, and his longest rush was 16 yards. That's pretty good. The little downside is he has had a history of some fumbleitis. He had 2 fumbles in 2015 and he lost one of them. But this is AB we're talking about. This guy, he's got Martavis Bryant out of he's suspended for the whole year. Le'Veon Bell is facing a 4-game suspension, which is more than likely gonna hold up. All right, AB has got to be the man. He has to be the man. He's got to come in there every single game and throw up at least 100 yards. He's at least got to take in 100 yards and a touchdown every game. That's what I'm thinking. My projection is he's at least going to have 1,600 yards, 1,600 yards. And I'm going to say that he actually gets 11 touchdowns, all right? And I don't know what his long would be. But it could be pretty long. All right. Next up, we got Julio Jones. All right, Julio Jones, number 11 from the Atlanta Falcons. This guy's a beast as well. All right, 2015. He had 203 receptions. That is 10 more than Antonio Brown. That's a whole nother game, basically. 203 receptions and 136 yards. 136 receptions. That's actually tied with Antonio Brown. And this guy, he led the league in receiving yards, 1,871. And he had 8 touchdowns. 13.8 yard average. Longest throw was 70 yards. I'm pretty sure that was against the Carolina Panthers. Alright, this guy, unlike Antonio Brown, he actually has help. He's got Mohamed Sanu from the Bengals coming in and helping them get that passing game going. So, Mohamed Sanu being an actual real number 2 receiver, that's going to take some attention off Julio. And that's going to leave him open more. And, you got Devontae Freeman running in there. I don't know exactly how it's going to be. I'll probably do a video on the running backs later. But that could leave Julio open for a lot more fantasy points. All right, number 3. My number 3, we got Odell Beckham Jr. You already know. Odell Beckham Jr. He had 96 receptions, on 158 targets, 1,450 yards with a 15.1 yard average reception and a long of 87 yards. Can you imagine? Can you imagine seeing this guy start out on the 13-yard line, run, and take it to the house? That's pretty crazy. He had 13 touchdowns. He only played in 15 games, and he had 13 touchdowns. That's almost an average of 1 touchdown a game, obviously. And he only lost 1 fumble. Still not too good. I think Julio lost 1 as well, but he also recovered 1 for a touchdown. So I see Odell picking it back up. Since he came into the league 2014, he had 1,305 yards. Now he had 1,450. I see it going back up. Ruben Randall's gone. He's on the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think that's gonna they're gonna have to rely on Odell to pick it up if they want to take it to the, take him to the postseason. DeAndre Hopkins, my number 4 receiver. All right, 111 receptions. I don't think. Who knows how much the targets was. Let me see if I can actually find that real quick. No, I can't find it. But that's okay. 111 receptions. All right, 1,521 yards, 13.7 yard average, long of 61 yards, and 11 touchdowns. This guy, he had no help. He had no help at all. He played with 4 different quarterbacks. 4 different quarterbacks. He didn't have one to build chemistry with, except for Brian Hoyer, who I'm pretty sure played most of the of the games, but he had no one really. He had no help. The second receiver was Nate Washington, and no, this guy did 1,521 yards with no help. He earned all of that. All right, and I see it coming back up. I see now he's got, who does he have? I forgot who that. They just got a rookie receiver who's pretty good, and now they got Brock Osweiler from the Broncos, and Brock Osweiler, he let it rip when Manning was gone on that injury. So the sky's the limit for DeAndre Hopkins. You really want to draft him. If Odell's gone, if Julio's gone, obviously Antonio's going to be gone. Unless you're the first overall pick, you got to take AB. But if you got those guys gone and you're left with DeAndre Hopkins or AJ Green, take DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not even kidding. DeAndre over Dez. Just like that. But here is actually a surprise that people might really disagree with. But I think my number 5 receiver coming in to the 2016 season is Amari Cooper from the Oakland Raiders. All right, this guy, first year in the NFL, he had 72 receptions on 1,070 yards. All right, 1,070 yards with Derek Carr. Derek Carr is not the greatest quarterback, but he's good. He can get it done. And he had 6 touchdowns with a long of 68 yards. All right, and he did lose 1 fumble. But here's how I like to think about it. You got Michael Crabtree from the Niners. He lost basically his game at the end of his run with the 49ers. But now he comes to the Raiders, and Michael Crabtree lets it rip. Let's see if we can find Michael Crabtree. No, unfortunately, we cannot find him. But Michael Crabtree, he stepped it up. And, so that's taken away from Cooper. That's taking away the attention from Amari Cooper. Second year in the system, he knows the playbook. He knows what's going down. So he's going to come in to the 2016 season ready, knowing the plays, familiar with the system, more comfortable with the guys, with his team. And I think he's going to let it rip. So I gave you my prediction for Antonio Brown because he's my number 1 receiver. Julio Jones, 1,871 yards. I think he's at least going to match 1,800. I really do. 1,800. Odell, 1,400 yards, 1,450 yards. I could see him at the minimum, if he stays healthy, because he's going up against Josh Norman twice a year. I could see him racking in 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns compared to his 13. Julio, he had 8 touchdowns. I think he might get 8. If not, I think the most he's going to get is about 10. DeAndre Hopkins, 1,521 yards and 11 touchdowns. I think he's going to go to 1,600 yards at least and 10 touchdowns. Let's go 10 touchdowns. Amari Cooper, watch this. 1,300 yards I think he's going to go for. I think he's going to hit 9 or 10 touchdowns. Alright? So there's my list. 5 wide receivers from the fantasy football that you need on your team. At least one of them. Get one of them. That's all you got to do. Get one of them. Alright? Hopefully soon I'm going to do a list like this on the running back so you can find out who you need and who you should have on your fantasy squad. Alright, this is Nick. Stay tuned for more information and more videos, and I will get back to you guys soon.